Ruby's first day. Today is Ruby's first day of school. She's going somewhere new. Last year, it was an all-white school. Now she can go there too. At school, there is an angry crowd. They don't want her to go in. They yell and shout at her to stay out because of the color of her skin. 4 guards are there to keep her safe. As she moves through the blockade, Ruby holds her head up high and tries not to be afraid. Here's a picture of Ruby Bridges on that first day of school. She's all alone in class today. Her classmates are nowhere in sight. Their parents don't want them in a school with a child who isn't white. Ruby eats her lunch alone and can't go out to play. The angry crowd is still outside. When Ruby leaves for the day, they don't want Ruby at this school. They try to scare her away, but Ruby is a brave, strong girl. She won't let them stand in her way. The caption to the picture says, "An angry crowd protests outside Ruby's school." Do you know what protests mean? A protest is when people are fighting against something. A brave girl. Ruby Bridges grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. When she was young, black children and white children had to go to separate schools in the South. In 1954, a United States law said that all children had to go to the same schools. However, many schools in the South did not obey that law. In 1960, when Ruby was 6 years old, she became the first African American child to attend an all-white school in the South. Many white people did not want Ruby to go to the school every day. Every day they stood outside and tried to keep her from going to class. They couldn't stop her, though. Ruby kept going to school. Guarded by 4 U.S. Marshals, she didn't miss a single day. By the next school year, the angry crowd was gone, and Ruby was no longer the only black student at the school. Let's take a look at this photograph. This shows Ruby walks out of school with 3 U.S. Marshals. Take a look at this map of the United States of America. If you look at the title, it tells us what the map shows. This is a map that shows segregation in the United States in the year 1953. Now let's go down to the bottom. If you're not sure what segregation is, we can read down here to get more information. Segregation is the separation of people based on their race. Before segregation became illegal everywhere in the United States, many of the states had their own laws about segregation. So this map is showing me in 1953 how each state felt about segregation. So if we look at the key, the states that are red, including the state we live in, Maryland, segregation was required. That means that children would go to a school based on their race. States that were purple, it says that segregation was optional. That means that these 4 states got to choose whether or not they wanted to have segregated schools or not. This light blue color, these states up here in the north, over here on the west coast up north, those showed that segregation was illegal. So you were not allowed to segregate schools based on race. And finally, any of these states in white, California, these states up here, there were no laws on the books for segregation.